it's a lot of questions, and there's certainly a lot to unpackage there. So how it affected Lenovo as an organization here in Canada is probably very similar to a lot of organizations that are in the small medium enterprise space. For one, we had to react very quickly to what was an evolving situation with the pandemic. And that involved a couple of things. One was making sure that our employees and their well-being was secure. The second thing was making sure that we could effectively provide a safe and engaging workplace and workspace for them. So that was becoming more mobile and making sure that we provided those devices that enabled them to continue to work and be effective. And then probably third, and it probably happened a little later than sort of the initial reaction to the COVID pandemic is how our business maybe pivoted a little bit to address the new areas of the market, the new opportunity that became very prevalent as a byproduct of COVID. So this required us as an organization and a team and a leadership team to be very nimble, to be very flexible, very organized, and in the end, as we're about 4 months in now, I think very effective. Yeah, well, I think it certainly affected small and medium businesses quite extensively. We haven't done our own independent study on this, but one that I would point to is a recent CIBC study that was available, and a couple of thoughts. One was 81% of businesses, as part of the survey, suggest that they have been negatively impacted as a result of COVID-19. So not really a surprise. 54% of those surveyed said that sales have dropped, and so again, not totally surprising if you had to sort of hazard a guess. But what was interesting was this tilt. So in the midst of a couple of more distressing pieces of data, the same survey referenced a 76%. 76% of those businesses were confident that they would rebound after COVID. So I thought that was rather encouraging, because you're balancing out the uncertainty of the market, the uncertainty of the situation, with this sense of a resolve that things would get back to some sort of normal, albeit maybe not a new normal. And I would say, if I kind of continue to elaborate there, from a Lenovo perspective, we've seen quite a lot of change and churn in the market that we do business with, and with the clients that we typically do business with. We're seeing a lot more online purchasing, and I think some of the stats in Canada would support some of that. And that's as a byproduct of COVID and some of the physical distancing concerns. We're seeing that buying cycles are typically extending out a little bit. So as organizations start to think about and reconsider every dollar of expense that they have, those decisions are getting extended out and taking a little bit longer than what we've seen normally. Number of other trends that we're seeing. Remote working is picking up as you would expect. One stat I would share for you is related to our business is that the market in Canada was typically around 50% laptop, 50% desktop, and as a byproduct of COVID, we've seen a very sharp shift over to more mobile technologies in the form of laptops and other mobile devices that enable this remote working culture. And then the other, I think, as an overarching is this ongoing shift, and we're probably seeing this in small business as well, to adopting more of a technology transformation strategy. So how do we not just leverage technology to keep us up and running, but how do we leverage it to give us competitive advantage to compete in the markets that we operate in. So lots of things going on out there. Obviously, a challenging, difficult time, as you would agree, but also loaded with lots of great opportunity and strong stories of evolution and pivot. Yeah, it's a tough question because I probably can't comment specifically on what other business should have done. Although I can agree for sure that it's been a very difficult time for a lot of businesses, and some have had some success, and some have obviously had some significant challenge. Some of the things that in my travels, when talking to small medium business as well as many of our own business minds at Lenovo, one that we keep seeing kind of resonate more and more is this notion of business continuity planning, or in our terms BCP planning, which is really sort of, it predates COVID because it's really intended to be a strategy to keep a business up and running during many of the significant challenges that may befall a company or an organization or a market. But those that I think that have had tremendous success have been those that have had a plan, a contingency plan, and have executed very well on that contingency plan through the pandemic. And while it probably didn't address pandemic per se, because I'm not sure many of us expected this, I think whatever was in place helped to address the situation that we're in. The second would be those organizations that were that I would argue were more modern or more mobile. So those that had already shifted along the technology curve to a mobile-first strategy. And that could have manifested in employees and their ability to engage online and remotely from wherever they were or are, but it also could reflect these alternate consumption models, alternate route strategy, i.e. buying online versus buying in store. So many of these we've seen through the last 4 months that organizations that were on sort of the right side of a good technology strategy may have prevailed a little bit better than others. And then last, and it's probably not least, because there's probably lots of different opinions on this question, is this ability of an organization to be nimble and to be able to pivot very quickly to where the opportunity might be. And I remember myself, is more personal than anything, but in the early stages of the pandemic, where there was a significant need for PPE, which is the personal protective equipment that was required to protect those that might be serving on the front lines. We had organizations throughout Canada that shifted production, that shifted their strategy to help support that. And I think this ability to pivot, this ability to see the opportunity and to shift course very quickly like that, to take advantage, probably lends itself to being very successful for organizations. Yeah, Lenovo has been able to weather the storm, in our perspective, fairly well, and I think it's probably multifold as to say the why. I think one for sure is that given that we're in the technology world and it's an organization that continues to want to evolve, be better, provide more to our constituents. I think that I would argue our plan before the pandemic was to be successful. The amount of innovation that we bring lends itself to driving success for our organization in the market that we're a part of, and it's important for us as an organization to be relevant, if not leading, in a lot of cases. So we've done this for the last number of years. Our technology strategy is smarter technology for all, and this is an evolving strategy around what we like to call the intelligent transformation that's going on right now in business. So I think that's the starting point. Had a really good plan, and we're executing very well on the plan. As the pandemic hits, again, some of the tenets that we described earlier is that, this ability to address the market for what it was at the time this hit. We saw this tremendous surge around remote working, and it was important for us to be there for our business partners and our end user clients with solutions that allowed them to tilt very quickly into a remote working world. And back in the months of March and April, it was a significant surge in demand like we've never seen before. And I'm pleased to say that Lenovo, by and large in Canada and beyond, has been able to satisfy that demand and keep a lot of our existing clients and new clients up and running. So I think that's important that we've sort of had a really good plan. We jumped into COVID and we executed on what we were seeing at that point in time, and now we're getting into this kind of it's been an overused term, but I would call it the next normal. So we've been able to understand this situation. We're certainly in it for the long haul, as you would expect, and now we're starting to see the organization start to become even more transformative in our dealings with clients. So how do we satisfy the new work world and the new business model, both on the tail end of COVID and beyond? And I think that's really where Lenovo starts to evolve and show our significant value around what we call the intelligent transformation. A couple of things we do there. I think one would be expand beyond our hardware, traditional hardware business into software business. So we've partnered. We just announced it last week with Microsoft, partnering to become a cloud service provider with Microsoft, which allows us to sell and engage in dialogue around the complete Office 365 suite of offerings, including what I think has become incredibly important today, which is collaboration software. And then further than that, you think about the business that we're in from a PC perspective, and how providing high value-added services around the life cycle of a product, where organizations are now shifting to a remote working model. Lenovo is doing that as well with the announcement around our endpoint managed services. So again, I sort of look at this in a number of different ways. Did you have a plan? Yes, we had a plan. It was a plan we believed in. It's a plan that was relevant to the market. We were able to, and we still continue to satisfy the demand and the opportunity that is the pandemic. But certainly this is an organization that continues to evolve beyond that, and thinking about where the future will take us, and how we can be an incredibly relevant player to our constituents. Yeah, it's I guess you would talk a little bit about some of the things that we would talk about individually. Certainly, social norming is starting to change, and some of the things that we used to do that will evolve and change, as will professional norming. Quite frankly, so this ability for us to engage and have this interview and have it recorded over collaboration software, I think is something that may have existed prior to, but probably now has become quite a lot more pronounced. Lenovo actually did a little bit of research here, Shaliza, and I think it's and it was some work on how how technology influences the evolving world of work. So this is a global study that we did, and a few interesting things I'll share with you that were findings out of this survey. One would be that more than half of the respondents believe that they will continue to work from home more in the future than ever before. So more than half, and I think that's probably not something we would have said prior to the pandemic and the experience that we've all been through. And then further, that nearly 2/3 of global employees felt that they are more productive working from home than in office. And that's in spite of distractions. You might have heard my dog barking a little bit earlier there, which I apologize for, but it is the reality of the work from home lifestyle that I would say people are starting to be more accepting of and agreeable to. And a couple of other things that I think become more important as we think about technology and remote working and the future of work. One would be security. Security, of course, is becoming a much more important topic. Not that it wasn't prior, around things like data breaches and making sure that organizations understand where their data is at all times. And then one that I think is interesting and important for everybody to start to think about is this notion of branding as it relates to the future of work. We are effectively now a product of how we display ourselves online, and whether you want it to be online or not, everybody is now, and everything is recorded and subject to the internet and available online. And I think part of that we tell our employees, and part of that I would share with those that may see this video is this notion of a personal brand. So what do you want your personal brand to look like when you're online? Because we are spending a heck of a lot more time on camera. Is your background neat? Do you have a well-kept appearance? Have you built out a proper ecosystem? So is your camera projecting the image that you want to project? Is your voice sounding the way you want it to sound? And we're seeing a proliferation of at-home and remote working hardware and software to enable that. And I think that's important. And I think there's an important tie to organizations because how you represent yourself is a direct reflection of how people interpret your organization that you're a part of. So I think that lots of different changes are manifesting in the future of work. Those are but a few. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and I guess there's no proper kind of straight answer. What I can say is that I maybe it's biased, but I don't think it is. I think enabling a remote workforce is going to be key to getting businesses back on track. So if you haven't gone through that metamorphosis of working in the office and now working remotely, I think I would encourage people to explore that and evolve that discussion. Because even after COVID, there's lots of discussions out there that suggest that we may never go back to the way it was as far as working in traditional office towers, bricks and mortar. It's just we've tilted too far now, and I think that balance has to become apparent. The second thing is. And I would say we probably have gotten better with this over the last 4 months than maybe at the beginning of this cycle, where there was some uncertainty about how long this was going to be and what we needed to do to sort of get by the early weeks of remote working. I think it's important to create that sense of routine. You do get that work-life balance sort of gray area or gray area. Because you're sort of working from where you live, and I think creating a sense of routine is going to be important. I think starting at a certain time in the day, making sure you're leveraging all the great features of whatever collaboration software that you're using, and I think there's lots of that. And I think this because we're humans, we need ongoing interaction, and I think we need to make sure that we stay in touch. So bringing back some sense of normalcy to how we operate in the business world. And then I think that from a business perspective versus just an individual perspective, I think it's incumbent on businesses to make sure that we take a leadership role with our employee base and our customers, partners, clients, etc., to continue to communicate those plans and make sure everybody's on the same page with what we're doing and how we need to do it to get back to that sense of normalcy, or that next normal that the industry would call it, so that we can get back to the work world that we all remember. Yeah, great question. And I throw this out. We're talking, obviously over internet, and we're using a collaboration software that I won't mention, but let's all cast our minds back to just a short couple of years ago where you may not have had a robust collaboration offering that we could all use, and certainly it might not have been multi-tenant, which would allow you to engage very freely with somebody outside of your company's firewall. So think about what that would look like if we didn't have that. The other would be just high speed alone. I think about the speeds to which we're operating at today and what we were operating in the past, and whether we could have survived COVID. And so I think technology really is sort of the underpin of a successful strategy for organizations, both in COVID and now beyond. And that is Lenovo's goal is obviously to use the technology to allow organizations and people to remain productive at all times. So when we think about what we're trying to do now is trying to influence more and more organizations and people out there to take advantage of what the world can bring them. A few things we've done that may have been helpful to small businesses in Canada is obviously to bring great technology, to engage regularly, to communicate often. The other is to bring some of that help that many of them might have needed during the last number of months. We announced early on in the cycle, as part of our value chain, we sell through a lot of resellers in Canada, the biggest and the smallest, and working capital for sure, and cash flow were issues for a lot of organizations, not knowing where the future was going to be and what they had to prepare for. So we started by offering a channel stimulus package, which was for our reseller businesses, and this is an ongoing, and it's available now through October, which gives them a lot of benefits for our channel partners to help manage business on behalf of our clients through the challenge. So this is flat rate incentive programs. This is faster payouts, so putting more money or putting money in their pockets sooner. Extended financing terms, which allows them to carry the receivable a little bit longer. So giving them that flexibility. And because of the success there and the feedback that we had received, we also did the same for customers. So we announced a short month later a customer relief package, and it was very similar. It was this opportunity to provide additional assistance from Lenovo to help organizations through the toughest part of this crisis, and really did address some of the same things that our channel partners experienced, which would be things around cash flow and items around cash flow, making sure that they could keep important technology projects on track in spite of some of the uncertainty around what the market would bring, and it scaled all the way up from sort of the very small all the way up to complete alternate consumption models, what we call device as a service offerings, which became more predictable, less capital intensive, more operating and I think provided ultimately value to the market in a time where they most needed it. Yeah, it's there's probably any and all and a cast of things that Lenovo can do. At our core, we build incredibly innovative hardware to extend value to our customers and clients, and we do that through a lot of different ways. So I could sort of regale you on stories about the types of notebooks and laptops across our small medium business portfolio, which we call ThinkBook, our commercial portfolio, which is our ThinkPad, all the way down through our Idea Center, which is our consumer portfolio. So a suite of offerings. What I think is interesting as we start to evolve beyond just providing great laptop desktop, which is what we've done for a long time, is start to look at other areas of the market that have a gap that Lenovo believes we can fill with some extra value that we're bringing. So this notion of modern workspace, which I think is an important topic these days. One particular product that we've brought is this third-party companion device, which is integrated with Microsoft Teams, which is obviously one of the collaboration providers out there, and it's a companion device that I have on my desk right now that's dedicated to my video conferencing. So I don't have to leverage my laptop. I don't have to leverage my laptop screen. I actually have a third-party device which sits next to me and gives me flexibility to run through my calendar, jump in meetings very quickly, exit meetings very quickly, and take advantage of this extended workspace that we all have. As we build out some of that, of course, I could tell you lots of stories about great security offerings and security products that we have, high-value services that help to provide an incredible amount of efficiency and automation through life cycle, and then stories of lots of different products even beyond that, including 5G and some of the things that we're doing around IoT. Which I think are interesting to the market and continue to help Lenovo bring value to our small and medium enterprise clients. Yeah, I'm laughing a little bit because it's a great question, and I actually think when my dog was barking earlier, it was the Amazon delivery driver dropping another package off. So I think both from a personal and of course a commercial business perspective, this has become an incredible reality in Canada. And Canada's always been even a little bit behind the Americans south of the border. We've always been sort of a little slower on this culture, but we're starting to see this move rather quickly. And I'm not surprised Stats Canada has recorded such a result. I can say that Lenovo's experience around this has been very similar to what you've just described. We have seen a tremendous increase in online purchasing in our Canadian Lenovo.ca, Lenovo.com/ca web property, and it's something that we actually think about all the time, because as you think about the transformation in market, you're constantly looking at your value chain and how you engage and communicate with your end user constituents, and really our strategy has been to be where the customer wants to buy. And so we've seen a tremendous amount of business there. I think in preparation for that, and this isn't COVID specifically, but this has been a journey that we've been on for the last little while with respect to online, is things like continuing to rework our online presence, making our web property more visually appealing, making it easier to navigate, offering more and more products online that maybe we wouldn't have offered prior. We spent a lot of time improving the shopping engine and the shopping experience, which I believe is now is very enjoyable. And then even further than that is some of the extras that we would bring on our website, which continue to be an evolution of what is already a good starting point, like things like loyalty programs. So if you're buying more online, then obviously there's an added piece of loyalty that you would get there. Down at the consumer level and even small medium business level, providing lease and financing options online, which is again an evolution of what we've done. So if I was to give some advice, I would say, obviously we have to continue to analyze the market and our customers. Make sure that we are where they want to buy, because if you're not available where they want to buy, then they may not buy you, or you make it incredibly difficult for them to consider buying something from you. And I would say, that many of our channel partners in Canada would also attest to the same strategy. Is that whether inline or online, it's important for us to be where our customers are, and we're seeing a significant uptake across all of our major routes to market with respect to online. I think we've if I go back to some of the things that we said earlier, I think one would be we make sure that we have an offering that customers want to be a part of, and I think early on it's making sure that much of what we're bringing, how we're communicating, how we're engaging, provides the sort of value that many would be expecting from us, and I think that's kind of job one. As that continues to evolve, is looking for additional opportunities where they might need some additional assistance, or where they might need additional guidance from an organization like Lenovo, is to bring that. As I said earlier, part of that would be things like a relief package. If you do have challenge around credit or financing or cash flow, then it's important and incumbent on organizations like Lenovo to be able there to address that, and I believe we have with many of the offers that we've been able to bring to market. You would say, and it's probably an old adage, right? Like leadership or good leadership is tested during the most difficult times. And it's probably really easy during easy times. And I think we're going through one of those difficult cycles where great leaders have to stand up and shine and help their organizations and the broader market around them through the most difficult challenges. And I would say, there's no lesson plan for this. If there was a script, many of us would be following it and probably following it to some success. A couple of things I think are important. One would be is to listen. I mean, your people and those around you, if you're listening close enough, will always share how they feel and where some of those pitfalls and those concerns may be. So it's important for good leaders and successful leaders to listen to those that are around them. I think what we found some success in just communication in general. So making sure that we're communicating early and often, and also doing that with an incredible amount of transparency, because people know that this is a difficult situation, and it's important that we're able to build trust and integrity in our communication with them, and we've done that, and that would extend all the way through the Lenovo organization. My boss, Matt Zielinski, who runs North America, actually is holding a Friday call now, and he's been doing it since the start. So every single Friday with roughly 2,000 employees across North America, and addressing through the listening and understanding and this evolving news story, has been addressing all the employees with important, relevant, straight talk about many different topics. So I think that's a good example of communicating with transparency. Leaders also make sure that they're tilting, they're able to tilt, they're open to change and pivot, not to completely do a 180 away from core strategy, but to allow for the opportunity to tilt and pivot towards something that might be quite wonderful if you can find it. And then lastly, I think is this notion of leaders that probably is more important during difficult times than it would be in others, but is to bring that inspiration, be inspiring to your people. Get them energized, get them up in the morning, get them online, get them eager to participate and engage with the organization. Create that open forum for them to think differently, act differently, bring their ideas, and I think that all contributes to helping people overcome what could be a difficult situation. Yeah, if you find out, maybe you might want to let me know. But I would say, like these are probably more personal characteristics versus something that I could sort of point my finger to, or point my finger on. I would say we have to recognize that the world that we left pre-COVID will not be the world that we enter into post-COVID, and certainly isn't the world that we're in today. So adjusting to that, going through that change curve, and getting to acceptance as fast as you can, I think it's going to be important to whatever the future of business life will look like in the next normal. I also think that it's important for organizations to continue to evolve and review their strategy and go to market. I don't think status quo in a lot of ways in today's world and beyond will continue to be acceptable to most organizations. So we have to continue to challenge the status quo, challenge the more traditional paradigms, and be able to adjust rather quickly towards where the new opportunities are. And then last, I would say, remain hopeful. I think we have to be resilient, which more and more people are becoming as we work through this challenge. But be hopeful. Out of the most difficult times can create the best times or the most wonderful times. So I think being hopeful, being positive, having a good perspective, which will and should help organizations see their way through this.